Hello, my beauties. How are you doing? I am Rebecca, and this is my full moon report for Pillars of the Moon. So, yes, welcome, welcome. I'm jumping right on in today because today is the day of the full moon. So it will be today is the 5th Sunday and the day of the sun, and the full moon will be this evening at was it 16? No, 6:28 tonight, and that's in the GMT time zone. So yeah, you're just getting around to putting this video out. This week has been like so intense, and I think it probably has for a lot of us, as we've been approaching this full moon today. So when we cast our memory back to 2 weeks ago, and the new moon, the new cycle began, and it was conjunct Pluto. So all of the stuff that's been coming up this cycle is coming to its high point today, the full moon. It's like the high point or the fullness of the cycle, until we start to wane away again. So, you know, it's probably been an intense cycle for many of us and very deep and very transformative. But it feels like, well, I speak for myself, as well, like there's this calling to do the deep inner work right now, to move through some of our really core wounds, and so things may be happening in our life. So we may be having lots of changes, lots of shifting, and the new moon was on the cusp of Capricorn and Sag, and so the full moon is on the cusp of Cancer and Leo, and so this is cusps are, it's a transition. So this whole cycle has been really transitional, and for many of us, we could probably have been experiencing lots of shifts and changes, maybe physical changes, could have been very deep inner changes, emotional changes. We may just be feeling like this shifting. And coming up this year, there's some big planetary shifts happening. We have Pluto going into Capricorn, which is massive. We have Saturn going into Aquarius, and of course, Jupiter will be moving into Aries as well. So this is all going to be really big shifts, isn't it? And then the nodes are shifting. So I feel like this year is quite a year of big shifts and changes. So this whole cycle, I feel, and coming to the full moon today, it's a real introduction into these changes and how we can navigate them when we're presented with them, So I'm going to jump into the live sky. I feel like I have so much to share around this full moon, so I don't want to talk for too long. So I'm going to take you into Stellarium Where. This is the live sky. So yeah, those of you that have been following this channel for a while will know that I love to dive into the live sky. So I'm just changing the time at the bottom here to 18:28. That's the time of the full moon. And so you can see here, I'm going to zoom in for you all. This is where the moon is at the time of the full moon. So this is the constellation Cancer. This is the constellation Leo. So it's really much in the middle. And so, but depending on which constellational boundaries you use, it could be coming up in Leo. The chart that I'm using, the boundaries are coming up as Cancer, but it's right at the end of Cancer. So, but what I feel is that really the energy of this full moon is a combination of both, just like the new moon was the combination of the Sagittarius and Capricorn energies. So it's like we're working with two lots of energies throughout this cycle. And yeah, so something that I wanted to just quickly dive into a little bit. This isn't really what I have studied or gone into, but one of my dear friends sent me this link to the the lunar mansions, basically, which is like the Vedic astrology, and that the full moon is actually aligned with the ninth lunar mansion, which is Ashleisha, which is in the constellation Hydra, which is the serpent. So this has taken me on a massive rabbit hole, like, so I can thank my sister for this one. But look, so this is the constellation Hydra. You can see it's the serpent. So the interesting thing that I've felt from tuning into this, so this lunar mansion, the Ashleisha, is connected to the serpent, obviously, because it's in the constellation of Hydra, but it's about awakening the Kundalini. So this part of the sky, is a very powerful place in the sky. And this is, when the sun is here, this is when we have our Lion's Gate as well, so. And also, if we look along, it's connected to Sirius. You can see Sirius right here. You can draw a line that goes all the way through Ashleisha and now to the moon and Leo and Cancer. So yeah, this part of the sky is considered to be very powerful, right? So the full moon is right here in the middle. And when I look at the constellation Hydra and how big it is, where does it begin? The tail of the serpent begins at the Bohemian star Spica, which is in Virgo, and that also aligns with Taurus, which is another Bohemian star in the constellation Boots. So, oh my goodness. So the serpent here, it's beginning with the priestess Virgo, or the midwife or the great mother or the goddess energy of Virgo, and it awakens and it travels up. And the Leo is the sun, and it's like the solar plexus, and so it's really like what is in between Cancer and Virgo. It's like the two goddess energies is that light, that fire, that sun, and that's our creativity, and like our radiance and our expression, and that is so held between the gates of Cancer and Virgo and Hydra, the serpent, so this full moon, it feels like it's a real opportunity to work with our Kundalini, to awaken, the serpents within us, and for that to be really held, by the earth and the water. So it's like I see it as like this real big expansion that's happening and opening, the gates of the serpents. And something else that's really interesting, like this is the symbol of the I don't even know if I'm going to say it right now. Caduceus. There we go. Right. And this is the symbol of the fucus, or one of the symbols that we connect with the fucus, So, and this has also got the number 8 on it, which is connected to the lions. It's also the number connected to strength, the strength card in the tarot. And the strength card in the tarot is a lion and a priestess, or the female, or like the feminine, and she's holding the lion's mouth, so it's like the expression of the lion, is really held by the feminine, by the goddess energy. And so it's really enabling that creative life force, that Kundalini that's being awakened, to be channeled, through our mouth into this reality, out into the world. So, we could be feeling around the time of this full moon, so much is moving in us, with the energy that Pluto he's conjunct Mercury, the planet of communication and our voice and our logic and our mind. So there's a lot that could be moving around, our throat, even our perception, our third eye, and so much I feel clearing, around the top part of our body. Maybe there's some blocks here, that we might be feeling, so when the Kundalini is coming up, it's moving through the body, and then there might be parts where it might get stuck. You know, so there could be practices that we could be doing to help to open that, you know, toning, singing, chanting, tapping, acupuncture, all of these kind of things can be really yoga can be really helpful. And also dance, movement, like getting the energy flowing, can be really potent. So the time of the full moon is this evening, you know, so it could be a really interesting evening to go out and explore our expression, you know, and our voice and all that we want to share, all that we want to express. Um, and it can feel like a really transformative energy, actually, because Pluto is taking us to the depths. You know, he has been this cycle. It's like, I mean, all the people I've spoke to have agreed with this, that there is some real deep transformation happening at the core of our being. And like what I'm feeling like it's bringing for me is it's like I can I can see how it's like illuminating my parts of me that are stopping me from becoming my full expression, the parts of me that are holding me back, the parts that, you know, really need my attention so that I can move forward. So something that um a quote that came from my friend Kim, actually, she'd done a transit report for me, and she said sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. So we might feel a bit like that at the moment. It's like, you know, because we're in the northern hemisphere, we're coming into spring, right? So there's this energy of, you know, Imbolc has just come, and there's like this stirring of life inside of us, and there's this awakening of all the seeds and all of the creative ideas. And in doing that, you know, it's like Pluto's like, but hold on a minute, like we're gonna do this really deep, like let's really awaken like that most precious bowl that's right at the bottom of our core of our psyche. Maybe it's the most gorgeous lily, or you know, and I just get the quote as well about the mud that the lily that rises from the mud, you know. So we may feel like this cycle has been really muddy, that we've been in the deep, dark, gloopy, yucky, sticky mud. And like the messages I keep receiving is like the lily that rises from the mud, or the lotus that rises from the mud. You know, it's like sometimes we have to go back into these core parts of ourselves that have got stuck and sticky, and because otherwise that lily's never going to grow, you know, or that beautiful part of us, you know, is left there deep down in the dark, you know. So Pluto is Lord of the underworld, you know, so it feels like there is a deep activation happening, like for many of us, I feel, around, yeah, these lost parts of ourselves, or real deep traumas that have happened in past lives or in this life, things that have happened in our childhood, that may be unconsciously affecting our reality, you know, or stopping us from going any further than we are. So yeah, if you're feeling all of these things right now, just maybe this message is for you, that you're not alone in that, and that this is a challenging time. And well, it has been for me and many people around me that I know, you know. So it's like, you know, that pressure that creates diamonds. That's what it feels like as well. Like, or the pressure that's created in something to transform it. And like the butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, you know, there's some force and there's some pressure involved in breaking out. So yeah, it feels like this full moon can feel like there might be a lot of pressure or a lot of tension inside, you know. So really attuning to that pressure and all of this tension, things that may be trying to get our attention, and bringing our conscious awareness to those things, and then asking, what does that part of me need right now? You know, how could I come to peace with this? Is there a part of me that could be in peace with this? And maybe we might need to, have some release, some cathartic release. You would have loved it. I had a big release this week. I launched a spoon across the room and it broke in two. And there was something in that, in that letting it go and letting it break. And then the tears came, and there was the grief and there was the letting go of all the sadness around all of that I was holding. And in that releasing it, it released the tears. And then underneath all of that, I could come back to love. My little boy said, "It's okay, mummy, we'll get you a new spoon." Bless him. But yes, anyway, I've digressed massively. So I'm going to go back over to the sky for you. See what the Hydra constellation, the serpent, it's always been, I've been quite curious around it for as long as I can remember, and how Virgo, Leo, and Cancer are all involved in it, and the constellation Cancer, throughout different mythologies and stories, and through the past of the research that I've done, that the constellation Cancer has been known as many things. It's not just the crab. It's also known as the turtle in some traditions, which I love. It's also connected to water. The Cancer energy is the water. And also in some traditions, in the Egyptian cosmology, it's the scarab beetle as well. And so the scarab beetle is connected to rebirth, transformation, and it's connected to the flooding of the Nile, which brings new life. So like I was just sharing around me releasing these tears, I flooded my Nile. The flood of the Nile came, and then from moving all of that grief that had been trapped inside of its shell, it released that, then there was space for new life to come. And even the water brings fertility. It's like the water gives the soil fertility. And so for new life to grow, we need these things. We need the earth, Virgo, we need the sun, Leo, and we need the water, Cancer. So we need all of these elements to thrive. And then what have we not got? This is the air. We need the air as well, for the spaciousness, for things to move and expand and grow into, and breathe, to open our lungs and really draw in that life that is coming from, the trees that are helping us breathe. And then we're exhaling and giving it all back to the trees, and this beautiful harmony from every breath in and out, which is what I share a lot in my yoga classes that I do. So is there anything else? I feel like I'd like to go over to the sun just so we can see where the sun is right now, and then I'll jump over to the chart. So I wanted to talk as well a little bit about Capricorn and Aquarius and the energy of union, and I'll show you what I've drawn on the chart in just a moment. But I always have, for as long as I can remember, like when I tune into this area of the sky, I see a Vesica Pisces, which is the two circles joining together, and in the center is the yoni, or the fish. So the energy of Capricorn and Aquarius, to me, they are the elders of the sky. And so Venus is in Aquarius right now. So Venus in Aquarius is the crone. It's the old woman, it's the witch, it's the elder, and so Venus is like, I can see her like Baba Yaga, Venus in her old, self. So this feels like, the witch and the cauldron rather than anything else, It's like that Venus is in Aquarius, she's got her cauldron, that is the chalice, it's the cauldron of the elder, the wise woman of the stars. And so she is stirring up her cauldron right now, and this is the womb, and we are stirring up the seeds in the womb, imagining that the womb could be the earth, and the earth is inside of us in our body. Our body is of the earth and the water and the stars and the fire, and it's all inside of us, right? But to Venus here in Aquarius, it's like it's really bringing our attention to the wise woman within, or the wise one within. And then we have the sun in Capricorn. Capricorn is like the old man, right? I spoke about this last time. It's like the old man climbing the mountain and jumping in the pool of fountain of youth to become young again. And so, the sun is a very kind of masculine, fiery energy, right? It's the sun. So it's like the masculine is in Capricorn and the feminine is in Venus. So there's this beautiful, the feminine Venus is in Aquarius. So these two energies working together, I can also see a number 8, going between these two signs, and or Vesica Pisces, and in the middle right now is Saturn. He's right in the middle, and he is aligned to Fomalhaut, which is the royal star of the north. And I've long connected this with Merlin, the wizard, really magical magician type energy. So at this time, we may be, attuning to our gifts, our magical gifts and our spiritual gifts. And also, I can feel, because Saturn is about to move into Aquarius as well by the end of this cycle, so we may find, over the next few years as Saturn is journeying through Aquarius, that this will be a time of collaborations, of working together with others and building structures for the community, that's going to serve the collective. So we may be seeing over the next few years, lots of initiatives happening around the collective consciousness and the community, and working together. The energy of collaboration is going to feel very important over the next few years. So yeah, let's see. Anything else? I wanted to talk about that comet as well that everyone's been talking about, that's only here every 50,000 years or something. But I actually am not sure if it comes up on Stellarium Web. But I noticed this morning that it's actually, where was it? It was still in the Chariot, I think, but it's going to be moving towards the Phoenix. So I don't think that I can actually see the comet on here. But yeah, he will be going towards the Phoenix. I say he, it's a comet. I don't know why I've attached that. They may be moving towards the Phoenix, So, and interestingly, my son, he's very intuitive, and he started talking about the Phoenix the other day. And I was like, well, that's really interesting. Why is he talking about the Phoenix? So he's very tapped in. So everything that, is happening now, we can look at the cycles of, evolution, and 50,000 years ago, what was happening on the earth and what's happening now. And imagining, in 50,000 years when the comet is going to be coming back again, how much would have changed. And, I can really see, before, when this comet came last time, and it's like, we've had the birth of the Gregorian calendar and all of these different systems of timekeeping, so it's really interesting, like the position of Saturn, at this time as well, and how Saturn is positioned, like I said, just in the middle of this Vesica Pisces here, at the point of transition, And we know, those of us who've given birth to babies know that the time of transition in the birth portal is quite a challenge, and transitions, can be difficult for all of us in different ways, So this time of transition, this time of change, as Pluto prepares as well to move into Capricorn, what do we need right now, to sustain us, to help us to stay grounded, to heal, to stay in our hearts, So we could be finding that being together with others in community, sharing our experiences could be really useful, to find different spiritual practices, spiritual groups. Um, we may be finding much more coming into our awareness now. So I like to stay curious and watch, what's coming into my life right now and what's kind of there and is being presented, and why. Why is that coming now, and then looking at the astrology as well, and how it's all, if I zoom out, looking at the bigger picture of it all and how it's evolving, how it's evolving me, how it's evolving time, how it's, evolving the collective, in the way that we are destined to go. I'm going to jump over to the chart so you can see this really pretty double vesica Pisces that I've drawn here. So this is fun. I like drawing on chart. So as you can see, this is the Capricorn energy where the sun is. Saturn is right here, right on the cusp. And then Venus is over in Aquarius. So I've drawn a number 8 here, or the Vesica Pisces, which is the union energy of these two, the grandfather and the grandmother. And then over on the other side, we have the Cancerian energy, or the water energy, or the lunar energy, and the solar energy of Leo. So, and this is the light and the water, the fire and the water, which is the alchemy, right? And then we have the Hydra, which is right alongside it, which goes all the way to Virgo. So this is the serpent that I was talking about. Go all the way down here. The serpent rising all the way up. So why was I talking about that? I'm not sure. But anyway, there's a union. There's a union here between these two constellations that I feel, that is like this energy of rebirth, which is the point where the moon is right now, this point of rebirth. The lunar energy is like bursting through the waters of Cancer. She's right at the gate of the lion. It's like the mouth of the lion even, it's like that time of like speaking our truth, Pluto and Mercury together in Sagittarius, speaking our truth, being in our vocal power, you know. And also these two are in trine to Uranus as well. So it feels quite like it could feel quite rebellious in our speech, just saying something that's quite out there and quite radical and shifting things up again. We may be wanting to share things that are, really deep, really transformative and quite, out the box and quite radical around this full moon. And I feel with the energy of Chiron, Juno, and Jupiter together, in Pisces, and this deep healing that's happening, this expansion of all that needs to be healed, and in Pisces, it's right in the core of the waters. It could be like when we was in the womb or when we was born, so we could be going right back to that first time that we took our first breath and, all of the things that happened to us when we were born, and how we was nurtured or not nurtured or all these things. So I also wanted to share about Pallas Athena. She's over in Gemini and she's in square to Jupiter, Juno, and Chiron. So this has been, for a while, and there's some kind of justice that's happening, justice and truth. Athena is connected to our higher mind, our intelligence, our logic, knowing how to strategize things and make plans of things, so there could be a plan for healing. Maybe we could be planning to go and see a therapist, or planning to take steps towards healing, so that might be something for some of us to attune our energies to. That's available for us now if we find the right person. Yeah, so Pluto, he was with the sun at the new moon and the moon, obviously, and now he's with Mercury. So I feel a lot of this cycle has been around our voice and our expression, Um, and obviously, because the moon moving into Leo, it's so much around our creativity, and interestingly, on this cusp here, it's like this Cancerian Leo cusp. It's like maybe there's like this tendency to go back into our shell, to feel more withdrawn, to want to stay in our comfort zone. And then Leo is like, oh, I want to be out there. And so there might be this energy of push-pull, like I want to be seen. Oh, but there's an edge there. I'm going to retreat back, like this energy of like, yeah, going forwards and backwards. But like I said in earlier, sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. So returning back to, like I was saying with Jupiter and Chiron, to the core of our beliefs, Pluto in Sag, the core of our beliefs and our truths and why we believe the things we believe, what was told to us, when we was younger. If you had these voices of, oh, I'm not good enough, or, I just can't do it, or I'm not strong enough, or I'm not beautiful enough, or, it's like, well, you're never going to want to get on the stage. But then there's a part of us, Pluto connected to our soul. There's a part of us that may need to express something, and maybe like I was sharing about, that bulb or that seed that's buried so deep down in the dark depths of our soil, and how do we awaken that seed? And when that deep, deep, deep seed is opened, it could be the most beautiful lotus flower we have ever seen and that the world has ever seen. And if we don't wake it up, then the world will never see it. So that can be symbolic of these parts of us, that are stirring. And Pluto is edging us towards, wake up that seed that's been hidden. But when we wake up that seed, first we might have to go through some murky, murky mud. And it might be sticky and heavy and yucky and, and take us into this place where we were wounded or hurt, So this is the process of transformation. And like I said, transitions, transformations, they have an element of challenge, of tension, of friction. And so there is like this, might be this tendency to want to withdraw into our shell and to hide and to not be seen, but then Pluto with Mercury is really kind of pushing us to really speak what we believe in, to share our truth, to share the voice of our soul, of who we really are, with beyond all of that, like I can zoom out, right? I zoom myself right out so I am the whole cosmos. And it's like there's this part that's just me, that's a little star of my soul that I am, that's just so huge and so vast, but at the same time, so tiny and precious, So yeah, like what is it that we really want to explore, of our soul? And how can we share that, and vocalize it and express it and give birth to it? It may even feel like we are in the birth canal and we're giving birth to these parts of ourselves. Bringing them out into the light of Leo, into the sun, for, this cycle to really come into its fullness. For us to really come into that fullness. And we may need to break through from that shell, that has been kind of containing us and supporting us. Just like the butterfly breaking out of the cocoon, right? So this is the energy of this full moon. It could feel like this real breaking out of the cocoon into the sun, and having those wings and flying. Something that I've also like connect with the wings is the heart, because when we stretch our arms all the way out and make wings with our arms, it's like the full expression of our heart. And the Leo energy is the heart, the heart of the lion. That, yeah, that heart is like that sanctuary in the center of our being where all things meet. that place where we can find our center, so and when we're opening up our arms, it's like the wings of our heart are opening, and then we can really be seen like a flower, opening in the sun. Really, so that could be like this energy of the full moon as well. So yeah, on the build up to this full moon, it's been really intense for me. I actually have Pluto on my ascendant right now because my ascendant is right at the end of Sagittarius. So it's been very intense, but I feel like I'm having a whole identity shift. I'm really getting to attune with my power. So it's been really interesting. Um, but yeah, and also my Black Moon Lilith is in Cancer, and also, my Jupiter is returning, so in Pisces. So yeah, it's been an interesting time, and I'm feeling the transformation. Oh my goodness. So yeah, next time you see me, I might look completely different, but that's part of the process, right? You have to go from the caterpillar to mush to the butterfly. So at the moment, I've been in mush land for a little while, and then feel like I'm about to break free, which I'm sure many of us feel as well. You know, there's a mushy, wintry time that can be quite transformative, and there can be like a surrendering to the mystery and not knowing what's going to be born and how we're going to come out. We don't know who we're going to be on the other side. We've never been the butterfly before, so it's like, wow. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all I want to share. I think I've covered everything I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, so the new moon will be coming in Aquarius. I can't remember the date of it, but watch out for that in a few weeks' time. So you can see still in Capricorn at the moment. And then Saturn will be moving into Aquarius just before the new moon as well. So yeah, I'll be doing a new moon report around that time. So yes, I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. If you have any questions or if you would like to talk, just please get in contact. Yeah, and subscribe, share if you like it. I really, really love astrology. It really fills me up. So it feels like such a gift to share what I love with the world, and to share all of these musings and things that I experience when I tap into the stars, and this is just my lens. So, the way that I perceive things, may be different from what someone else does, and that's okay. So I'm just here to share what I see and to see if it resonates with you or not. So yeah. All right, my darlings, happy full moon. Mwah. Sending you all so much love. And yeah, I'll see you in a few weeks. Ciao, ciao.